Alright, beginning of part 2. I'm just about to insert this motor mount. You have to make sure you line that pin up properly. And one thing I do, which I would suggest you do, is clean these threads. They're not perfect. They get bits of crap on them. It is a metric thread. It is a 10 and 1.50. I'm fortunate I do have a thread cleaning kit. If you don't, run the nut over it all the way down and back up again. That will at least make it a little easier for you. And perhaps you may want to put some light grease on there. I would suggest something like a WD-40, because then it does tend to go away after a while, whereas grease will stay on there, and that's probably not such a good thing because the nuts may come loose, and you don't want loose nuts, no matter what your wife tells you. So now let's get this baby in position. Alright, I am underneath the S-type now, and I'm going to try and show you as best I can the route I had to take to get the motor mount out. Now once you get the engine up high enough, you can reach your arm in through here and actually get to the motor mount to pull it out. One of the bolts comes out through that hole there. Hopefully you can see that. The motor mount itself, now I'm going to try, I'm sorry about this, the way it's very hard under here. Hopefully you can see that. That's where the motor mount resides. You see there's two holes. One of the holes is for the pin, the other hole is for the bolt. And as you see, I've got the new motor mount just there at the moment. It's nowhere near in position. In order to get the original mount out, once I'd unbolted it and jiggled and piggled it, I then brought it this way through here. Now, hang on a second, let me put my light down. Okay, I brought it out through here. Now what I did do is I took the oxygen sensor out just to give me more room, so that I didn't damage any wires. It was just, sometimes it's easier to take shit out the way rather than struggle for hours. I'm a great believer in that. Okay, yes, I may take more things off than I really need to, but in the end it really makes the job easier for me. So that's the way she came, through here, up and over there, if you can see my hand. And there it is there. I have the motor mount in my hand, and now all I have to do, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show you, is to put it in. And then on the other side, if I can show you here, again, there is the bolt there. I've already undone it. I haven't undone the top. This one is easy to get to. This, as I think it's Michael Caine says, and not a lot of people know that because he never really said it, is easy peasy lemon squeezy. And what did that come from? Ah, it was Austin Powers. Oh, and whilst I'm under here, let me show you this thing. This appears to be a drainage pipe for the steering rack. I must confess I have never encountered such a thing. And it's sealed off. So it's kind of odd, because it's got one of them clips on it that if you undo it you ain't putting it back on, so I'll have to put a Jubilee clip back on. But it certainly looks as if this will be a good way for me to drain that crap out of the steering rack. Or I may just undo that pipe. No, I think I'm gonna take that plug out and then just replace it with a Jubilee clip or a hose clip, whatever you want to call it. I know them as Jubilee clips because that's who used to make them, although I do see them over here as Terry clips. But a hose clamp, you know what I'm talking about. Don't argue with me. I am super duper mechanic. Yeah, right, sure. If I was that super duper, I'd be rich and wouldn't be working on cars anymore. But I still love it. Alright. Oh, by the way, I know, again, another recommendation. See this beastie here? Now, it does work on air, so you need a compressor to run this thing. But this is good. Can't remember whether it was eBay or Amazon that I got this. But if you got a compressor, get one of these. I think it cost me around $130. Yes, made in China, which I detest. But others that say they're made in America, they want a couple of $100 for. And it's exactly the same, because I'm sure they get them made in China and then say made in America. But a great little jack. I've used it on a number of occasions, and it's so quick and simple. Alright, digress there. Time for me to replace the motor mounts. I'm looking forward to this one. I know that sounds silly, looking forward to actually doing something, but I got a feeling this one might come out easy, and if it doesn't, I'll scream and cry and yell and stamp my feet and tell them I'm running around in circles and scream until I'm sick. Oh, I'm sorry. It must be the drugs. I need them. Alright guys, ending this episode here, and next will be, what will it be? Steering pump and compressor, or maybe even draining the steering fluid. Who knows? Life is a mystery. One last piece of advice. When putting these mounts in, it will be frightening how high you have to lift the engine, but on the mount itself, put the bottom in first. That's the longest stud. Then you're going to have to jiggle and piggle them to get them in place, and before you do the final nut tighten, make sure the pin is coming through the top. It probably doesn't really make a great deal of difference. It's just an alignment thing, and mine are both aligned perfectly okay, so just be aware of that, and then do your final nut tightening. That's it for this section. Well, Sod's Law has struck. It is not possible to get this nut undone. Previously, I don't know, it had been damaged, and the 10mm wrench just does not fit it. So I'm going to have to take the pulley off before I can get some kind of device on that nut to undo it. Because I can't get the pulley off with this hose in the way, I've now got to take this hose off. So that means I've had to drain the cooling system. So now my task is to get this hose off, which is horrible. I hate this hose. It's another one of Jaguar stroke Ford's little specials with branches all over the damn thing. Where my fingers are now, there are two pipes coming off of this, plus you've got this large pipe and this large pipe. So I've got to get it off the radiator there. There's no two ways about that. And this is just one of the steering hoses that I've got out of the way, and somewhere down there I've got to get onto that clip. Oh, isn't that going to be fun? Okay, I won't bother showing you me struggling to get that hose off. That hose has to come off there. I will also take it off up here. Then at least it allows me room to move it around. Those are those two pipes. Hopefully you can see them there. So they're, fortunately, they're, what shall we say, long enough for me to be able to move the hose out of the way without disconnecting those two hoses, because they are crimped on. Another little Jaguar special.
Mr. Ford, Mr. Jaguar, whoever you were at the time. Called Jaguar, but I know that that is a Ford pump. How do I know this? Because I've done one before, and they are a penis in a rectumus. Alright guys, let me get that bastard off. I said bastard. Oh bum. In case you're not aware, this is the steering pump pulley. This one is 27031, and you can rent this from AutoZone. I happen to own one. When you return it to AutoZone, you get your money back, and I believe O'Reilly's, etc. do the same thing. And these are the little beasties, and I will show you me using this and how it all goes together. And don't try and do it without one of these pullers. It's stupid. You will damage things, and it doesn't cost anything to rent this. Yeah, you have to pay for it first, but then you get your money back. So believe me, it's well worth it. So let's get the hoses out of the way first, and then get this puller on, and I will show you how it works. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show you how to put this on. It's kind of fiddly, but once you get it on, it's good. These are the pieces you need out of the kit, and the two wrenches you need are a 21 and a 16. So let me slip these in my pocket to tighten my nuts. Woohoo! And what you do, now hopefully you can see this in that light. That's light. Let's see if I can do this better, so you're not being blinded by the light. It's something with a douche. Alright. So you slip on one of these pieces, and it really doesn't matter which way round they go, and as long as it catches that groove. Okay, now then you drop this piece in. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Then, keeping this the same way round as the other piece, because it's handy, you slip that over, so now that's all held. Now you get this ring, slide the ring over to hold those pieces in place, and with your fingers tighten up this bolt here. This bolt here. Now as you can see, it's already tensioned it. Alright, and now grabbing this wrench here and the spanner as well, and getting this on the end, you start to tighten your nuts, and I'm really sorry if you're not seeing this too clearly. Okay, oopsie. Now normally you'd be doing this on the bench, but if you're watching my video, you know I've had the problem, and I have to get this done on the car, and I really do hate doing it on the car for the reason you're seeing. They just keep slipping off. God damn it, motherfucker. And things like that happen. Alright, so anyway, windy. Okay, and you just keep doing that until it, oops, got crooked. Damn, I'm going to have to do that again. Alright, I think I got one of the pieces the wrong way around, like I'm telling you not to do. So let me get that. But you get the idea, okay? And then you wind it, and it pulls it off. So let me reposition this, because you can't do it wrong like that. That was me being silly. Alright, let me get that off. And this is another reason I hate doing it in the car. You always hit your hand on something, and that split me wide open. And of course, every time I swing a wrench, I hit something. Right now we're close to being off, but we're not off. It's getting hot, because of the thread binding. So I'm going to let it cool down for a little while, add some more lubrication, and then we'll be back to it. Well, sod's law has struck me. For whatever reason, and I'm really not sure, I cannot get that pulley to come off. I've got it to move but not to come off. So I'll have to sort that out when I get the pump out. The bolt that is stuck, that one that you can see in the forefront, will not come out. I have tried various things. Obviously initially I tried the correct tool, but it didn't want to play the game. I have tried what I know as mole grips. You probably know them as vice grips. I've tried everything on that. It does not want to come out. I am left with no choice. I can't get a grinder in there, so I'm going to have to go get some wheels for my Dremel, and I'm going to have to grind that head off, cut it off, whatever I need to do to get it off. I have spent a day trying to get this damn thing out, and basically wasted a day. Doesn't matter, customer's on a fixed price. But I don't like being beaten like this, but I am. I drained the radiator and everything, ready to get that off, but it doesn't want to play the game. So my trip tomorrow morning is down to my local Ace Hardware, grab myself lots of grinding and cutting things for my Dremel, and then come back and beat the shit out of it. And then once that's done, then I can go and buy a new bolt for it. It will not be exactly the same, but it will do the job. Gosh, all this just to try and get that compressor out. Mr. Ford, Jaguar, you could have made this easier, but you're a parasite. You just want to get as much money as you can. Sir William Lyons will be rolling in his grave.